Yo, what is up, NBA fans? It's your boy Mike here. Today, I want to talk about one of the more interesting teams in the entire league, and especially within the Western Conference, and that is the Phoenix Suns. I made a video on the Hawks yesterday, who I believe are going to make it the 8th seed in the East, and now I want to talk about the Phoenix Suns, who I believe are going to make the 8th seed in the West. Alright, so let's get right into it. The Phoenix Suns are a team with a whole lot of talent, and actually much more talent than I realized on this roster. They have started the season 4-1, alright? They had some decent wins. They split the series with the Kings. They beat the Pelicans. They beat the Jazz. They beat the Mavs. Not exactly a bunch of contending teams. However, they've done very well against teams who are not a bunch of scrubs. You know, it's not like they've beaten they've got all these wins against the Bulls and the Warriors. They're beating very solid teams. Teams who are actually expected to at least strongly contend for the playoffs. So overall, 4-1 is a very good start and probably better than most people would have expected, because despite their 8-0 run in the bubble, which, by the way, was complete bullcrap that they didn't make the playoffs despite going 8-0, come on NBA, throw the dudes a bone, that's just BS, but I digress, alright? Despite going 8-0 in the bubble, I think most people were still a little bit skeptical going into this season just how good this team can be, and it looks like they can be pretty dang good. So, to get right into the real discussion about this team, we gotta look at the players, and you can't talk about the Suns, just like with the Hawks with Trae Young, you can't talk about the Suns without talking about their main man, Devin Booker. This dude, I mean, this is really just karma repaying him for all these years, because Devin Booker has been on this trash team for so long. The Suns have been terrible, and Devin Booker has been a very good player. Everyone in the league has known it, and everyone in the league has said that he deserves to be on a better team, and he is finally getting that chance now that he has a legit roster around him. And despite Devin Booker playing very well to start this season, he's only averaging 20 points a game, and while I do expect that number to go up slightly, I wouldn't be surprised if Devin Booker averages less points than he did the last year or two. I really wouldn't be surprised if he ends up with something like 23, 24 points a game, instead of, as many people expected, now that he's playing with Chris Paul, him to do something closer to 27, 28, maybe even 29 points a game, alright? Because people said that, now he's got Chris Paul, he's going to get better looks, he's going to shoot better, it's going to be easier offense for Devin Booker. And while that is all true, the rest of the roster has really improved as well, and Devin Booker just doesn't need to score that much, because scoring is kind of a double-edged sword, as you will, where a better offensive player scores more points, but also if your team's better and you have better teammates, you don't need to score as much. So, this is, very similar to what I said in the Hawks video. Some of the greatest scoring seasons of all time came on very bad teams, where you had one great scoring player, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, alright? Did I say Echt out loud? Is it okay to say that out loud as a word? Anyway, for example, alright, those guys, playing on bad teams, they have to score that much, but it's not necessarily great for the offense. What's better is to have a very diverse scoring group of players, and nobody doing that crazy large of an amount. So even though Devin Booker is definitely going to lead this team in scoring, he's going to be a great scorer this year, I expect him to actually have something closer to 23 points a game, and just increase his efficiency. He's only shooting 32% from 3 so far. We all know Devin Booker is a better 3-point shooter than that, and I expect, as the season goes on, him to be shooting definitely well above average from 3. He's going to have a great year this year. Alright, right now he's averaging 24-4, and I expect those numbers to be very similar with a little more points. It's going to be great for Devin Booker, and I'm just so happy for him, okay? I don't particularly, love Devin Booker. I don't have anything against him either. He's just not a player I'm, real invested in any way. But, as an NBA fan, it's just nice to see someone with that much talent finally being on a team with good players. Now, the next guy up, Chris Paul, their big offseason acquisition, arguably the biggest offseason acquisition for any team in this league. In my opinion, it was Danny Green for the Sixers, simply because it meant getting rid of Al Horford's trash ass. But, many people would say it was Chris Paul, and I can't argue with those people. Even at age 35, Chris Paul is averaging an efficient 12 points and 9 assists. Okay, maybe he's not, that efficient, but it's still not bad. 38% from the field, 31% from 3. Chris Paul's going to get those numbers up a little higher. Definitely the 3-point percentage. The dude's he's a very efficient player, and he's starting a little rough, but it's a new team for him. I think those numbers are going to go up. The assists, however, 9 assists and 2 turnovers a game. Fantastic. Exactly the veteran passing presence that this team needs. Not to mention, he's still a very solid defender. Not exactly like all NBA level like he was once upon a time, but a very solid all-around defender. Great for this team. Great to pair with Devin Booker, who is not exactly a very good defender. All right. Just the perfect, if you asked me a year ago who is the perfect player for this Phoenix Suns team, I would have said Chris Paul. He plays defense and he's a great passer. He's exactly what you need, and he's what they got. And even though he's old, as long as he stays healthy, this dude is going to be so freaking good for this team. And not only is he helping out Devin Booker, and really the whole team, but he's also very much going to help out their other future star, DeAndre Ayton. Alright, now Ayton is starting the season off 48% from the field, 50% from 3 on a very small number of attempts, but still nice to see, and with 10 points a game and 11 rebounds. DeAndre Ayton's points are going to go up. I don't think that should be a question. They're definitely going to go up. How much they're going to go up, I'm not sure, simply because Mikal Bridges, who I'll get to in a minute, is doing so well. He may not be the second leading scorer on this team, he being DeAndre Ayton, but definitely more points than that. The dude looks very good so far. His defense still isn't great, but on offense, the man really does have all the talent in the world. I could definitely see him eventually being very similar to Nikola Vucevic, where he's just a very good offensive center whose defense is kind of meh. And this is just a great pairing for him. He and Devin Booker fit well together, with one being a post player, one being a very perimeter player, and Chris Paul is fantastic with both of them, okay? Once again, Chris Paul, perfect fit for this team. He's going to be getting DeAndre Ayton open looks. He's a veteran presence. He's probably someone who's going to sit there and get on his ass if he's sitting there and blowing easy defensive coverages like he has done a few times so far. But that's enough about DeAndre Ayton. They got Jay Crowder this offseason as well. The dude's really more of a center in the modern NBA, but he can play power forward. He's shooting pretty well. He plays good defense, and he can get backup center minutes. He's just a great all-around player. Dario Saric is on this team. He's doing his thing. Cameron Payne is looking like a very good backup point guard for this team, and a good backup point guard for the future, or when Chris Paul inevitably gets hurt, because I mean, I hate to say it, but Chris Paul's probably going to get hurt at some point. But Cameron Payne is looking very nice. Cameron Johnson is no longer looking like a terrible pick for the Phoenix Suns. Many people thought that he was picked too high when the Suns drafted him, and even though he was clearly set to be a pretty good player, he's now really looking like it. 14 points on very, very nice 56% from the field, 44% from 3. The dude's shooting. He just kind of does a little bit of everything. He's not a bad defender, and that's just great, all right? But I want to talk about the player who hurts me the most to talk about. That is Mikal Bridges. And I just got to say, as a Sixers fan, I can't believe we traded this man away for Zaire Smith. I can't believe it. This dude is so good. He is so good and so perfect for the modern NBA, okay? He's tall, he's a great defender, he shoots the 3 incredibly well. He's currently shooting 50% on 6 attempts a game, which is absurd. Now, obviously, he's not going to keep shooting 50%, but he's definitely going to be an above-average 3-point shooter. The dude's absolutely ridiculous, and it just kills me because he is the perfect role player for this Sixers team. I'm not going to start complaining about the Sixers, though, because they had an amazing win against the Orlando Magic the other day, and they are looking fire. I'm so sorry you just had to hear that. Anyway, Mikal Bridges looks amazing for this team. Another perfect role player on a team that needs some defense around its 2 stars. The dude's just perfect, and because of all this, all these players are coming together. They're taking the scoring load off Devin Booker, because you got guys, Mikal Bridges can score, DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul can definitely score, Cam Johnson off the bench, Jay Crowder can get a few points here and there, same with Dario Saric. Lots of scoring, lots of shooting, finally some decent defense between Bridges, Crowder, and Chris Paul, and also the 2 Camerons not being too bad on the defensive end either. Well, Cameron Payne's not great, but Cameron Johnson, he's decent enough on defense, all right? This team just looks really good, guys, and once again, fingers crossed, no injuries to Chris Paul. I don't see any way they don't make the playoffs this year, especially considering the Warriors are now looking kind of sus. I haven't counted the Warriors out yet, for the record, but I'm trying not to make another video on them too soon, trying to give them some time, see what they can do when they get Draymond Green back. But for now, the Suns are really looking like a playoff team, and they could definitely be higher than the 8th seed too. If they end up being the 7th seed, the 6th seed, the 5th seed is definitely pushing it a little bit, but it's not impossible. But definitely they could be like a 6th or 7th seed in the West, looking like a great team, maybe even a second round team, although I'm hesitant to say it. It's just a little early in the season, but no matter what happens, this team is going to be very good this year, and I am very excited to watch the Phoenix Suns play and see them win games, which is not something I've really been able to say in my time as an NBA fan, because once again, this team's been trash for so long. They've been trash since Steve Nash left, and it's just been really sad because it's a pretty big fan base and organization, and they are finally, once again, getting the chance to make the playoffs and do something good with their franchise, and I'm just really happy for them. I'm happy for the Suns. I like an underdog story. I like most of the players on this team, and I hope they do well this year. I hope they keep it up. They certainly deserve it after their bubble play last season. So that is all I had for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.